Welcome to Darkest Dungeon 2. My name is Nilaus. This is Act 2 boss. The Seething Sigh, or Resentment is what it's called here. And I'll be showing you the teams, the tricks, and how to kill it as efficiently as possible. We're starting with the team, and I am going to up front have a Hellion, because the Hellion has a good both front and back line. We have the Highwayman, because Highwayman is always efficient with both front and back. Then we have the Warlock, because Warlock can actually do some good damage both on the back row and the second back row. And then we have, of course, the Vestal for the healing and a bit of back row nuking as well, because that is the essence of it. Need to be able to target first and last row.
The Seething Sigh, stertorous avatar of ill-concealed rage.
As you can see in the beginning of the fight, it does this, or at the beginning of every round, it does a shallow breath, and it puts this orange token on its front lung. It'll either put it on the front or the back lung, and it is now our objective to remove this during the turn. Otherwise, it gets a free action at the end of the turn that does Sundering Exaltation, which is an AoE for 10 to 20 damage that affects everyone and also is causing 2 stress. So we really want to make sure that we have enough damage to take that buff away, and the way you take it away is you deal 12 damage when it's on the first one. So this is why Grape Shot is absolutely amazing, because Grape Shot can shoot the first row and also deal damage to the middle one, to the actual boss. Likewise, when it's the back, the Warlock specialization of the Occultist can do Sealing Spaghetti really efficiently. So here we're going to use a Howling End to just get a monstrous amount of damage. Way overkill in this case, but you know, it has 13 to 21 damage, so we just need to deal 12. If we deal 21, that's just nice. You can see that the front has 200 hit points and the back has 150 hit points. That is a lot. And it is probably not worth going for a kill on those, and rather focus on the main boss instead. In this case, we have so much damage that it is easy for us to also focus on the main boss. In case here, now I'm going to show you the Grape Shot. The Grape Shot will hit the main boss and also deal 20 damage. So it's a great way, if it's a little bit buffed, to clear out the back row. Our Occultist is dealing a silly amount of damage, but only the first turn. Then it drops off to 0 because of the I think it's called Idle Thought, the trinket that does more damage in the first turns, but then drops off to 0. Would not recommend putting it on using it for this fight. Now, it has alternated front row, back row. That's completely random. We are then looking at the attacks from it. It has a Blinding Rage, which is a blind, really annoying, as you can see on our main damage dealer there. One of the many main damage dealers. It has Wrath and Rancor. That is a pushback as well. Luckily, we are immune to pushbacks. Then on top of that, it has Hysteria, which is a shuffle. And then it also, if it is below 50%, then it has the Blind Rage will put a token, and if there is a token, then it can use a Dying Light, which will also remove 20 flame as well as cause lots of damage. So we're just a little bit later into the fight, and at this point we are seeing a Deep Breath for the first time, and it comes in here and gets a buff on the front and the back. The front one needs 12 damage, the back one needs 9 damage, and that gets a little bit difficult. You can see the Warlock is really not doing any damage anymore, so we are basically just having 2 damage dealers, but we're still having enough. And it is now this is why you need the flexibility to figure out if you're going to balance your remaining attackers, where they're going to focus. And when it's below 30% hit points, it will always be doing this. We dealt 7 damage, so we need 5 more damage. Here comes the Dying Light, because it had a token on, but it still removes 20 light from the light meter. It only when it hits. So luckily we have Iron Swan, great ability from the Hellion, Howling End for the front, and Iron Swan for the back. Then we can use our Grape Shot, which unfortunately is not critted or strength token, but it'll just do a little bit of damage, enough together with the 7/4 to go up and remove it. And that means at the end of the turn, it will not do the Sundering Exaltation on us, and we are very much in the clear. You can also see that our sort of residual damage from everything we do is just so much that we're actually ending up killing the front and the back lungs quite easily. You can see the back row is pretty close to dead, and if we do here, we can it has 22 hit points, so with a bit of luck we can actually just there we go, you got a crit, and it is dead. Now what happens when it dies? Well, first of all, it can no longer do Deep Breath. If it does Deep Breath, then it actually If it has 2 tokens up when it does the Sundering Exaltation, it deals 10 more damage, so it's between 20 and 30 damage, and 3 stress instead of 2. So you definitely don't want to leave 2 tokens up. Even 1 token is going to hurt. But if you remove this, then it's incidental attacks like Wrath and Rancor, Blind Rage, Hysteria. They will be a little more dangerous and hit more targets. Hit 2 targets instead of 1, so just kind of encouraging you to not kill the 2. On the other hand, you don't have to face any deep breath at all, which makes a lot of things. You can see here now the Hysteria hits 2 targets instead of 1. Previously it only hit 1, but when there's only 1 lung left, then it hits 2. It does now a Shadow Breath because it can't do a deep breath, and that makes it a lot easier for us to actually manage. So depending on what your damage is like, it might be worth actually killing the boss, or killing the one of the either the front or the back. But most of the time you will not have so much damage as we have here, so you can actually you have to focus on the boss for this. We're at round 10, which is a little far into this. Again, Hysteria hits 2 targets instead of 1. Dodges and just crits to mitigate the stress is just a great way. Dealing 12 damage, which was exactly what we needed to get this one out. You can also see dots are not stacking or not affecting the lungs, so we have to get the direct damage in. And here I'm just going to go the toe-to-toe, keep the healer, or keep the tank on tank duty, even though they are now Wrath and Rancor hitting 2 targets, so we can't prevent that it'll start spreading out. And yeah, you can see stress is also slowly building, although damage is not really affecting us very much because of the composition. But we are going to deal 14 damage. It's enough to take away the token from the Shadow Breath and also walk down the hit points of the front lung as well. We are at this point, it might as well go for killing both the front and the back lung. Nothing extra bad happens once that has been removed, but it's still let's say worthwhile to get done. Somehow we got a vulnerability token. I think that's from the Jinx perk. And this is how we keep alive with a good rejuvenating something. And toe-to-toe, deal a little bit of damage here. And also keep the taunt up. And at this point it still has 50 hit points on the front row, so we can take a little bit more attacks, but we can see the attacks coming in and the rhythm. It's very much, both in the beginning and at this point when we have killed 1, it's very much about removing the figuring out a way to deal 12 damage to the front or 9 damage to the back. Now our warlock here, or cultist, is completely useless, so we're basically as if we had 3 characters in here. Stress is starting to build up at this point, and we could just go for the finishing nuke, but hey, why not go for the extra cool way of just chopping off both lungs of the boss. It's a pretty good team and a good team composition, but I want to show you how to do it as controlled as we can here. There we go, 19, and of course it has 20 hit points, so it's always one off. You can also see the light meter has kind of diminished. We came in here with 97, and we're down to 47 at this point. So it's it has decreased by quite a bit, and if you might end up at 0 where you get some blinds. There we go. We cut off 1 lung, and it's now on Death Door. So all we need to do is just knock it the rest of the way. It gets the blind rage. Blind rage is only targeting 1, and but it's the Hysteria and the Wrath of Rancor. So it is time to kill the boss. Hope that it was a good, it was useful way. It's very much like the summary is: don't go for heavily on the dots. At least make sure that you have good attack both on the front and the back row, direct damage that can deal 12 and 9 respectively, and then you should be all good and focusing on the boss. So if you have enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, and also consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to see more Darkest Dungeon, I'm streaming it every Friday on Twitch TV/Nilaus, so come on by there as well. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.